If you're trying to run a successful business as a website designer, then a smooth client onboarding process is essential. Ensuring your clients have a good transition and onboarding means they're more likely to return to you for future work and leave you with a good review. Beyond just leaving you a review, they can also recommend you to other people. So ensuring their experience is smooth and fits with what they expected is a good way for you to secure future business. Beyond this, on the flip side, a bad experience can cause frustration and cost your business. So here is a 9-point checklist to help you ensure that both you and your client have a smooth and great onboarding experience. I'll be walking you through this checklist using Wix Studio, but this will apply to any web design tool that you use. Quite frankly, any creative tool you use that requires some degree of client handover. And before we get started, I just wanted to say a massive thank you to Wix Studio for sponsoring this video. Let's get to it. So first and foremost, you want to confirm the deliveries and scope beforehand. Now, obviously, you're going to want to do this before you've started the project. It's really essential that you've got a good understanding of what your client is expecting of you. But another great time to do this is just before starting the onboarding process. When you're rounding off on a project, reconfirming that you've got the deliverables correct and that what you've built aligns with the client's expectations is a really good place to start. If a client expects a certain deliverable that's not there, then they're going to be frustrated and this can cause issues during the onboarding phase. So for a web design project, this could mean revisiting past conversations or the initial brief to ensure that you've built out all the pages that client's expecting. Number 2, and a really important one, ensure that you've optimized the project throughout. Now, this is beyond just responsiveness. It's also important to make sure that the project is set up for success. Now, this could be SEO, but the general gist of this phase is making sure that if your client was to get this project and press publish, that no matter how they accessed it themselves or their potential future clients, they're having a good experience. So it's really important before any discussions about any project transfers take place that the project is well optimized and ready to go. This can also include file optimizations. If your client has a website with a hero section with a massive picture that's going to take a really long time to load, then they're not going to be happy if it takes a long while to load on their end. But more importantly, their own success is based on the fact that their clients, when accessing that website, have a good experience too. So optimize your site for success with your client and your client's clients. Because quite frankly, if you can provide your client with something that can provide them with clients, then they can really see the value in what you provided them with. Next up, and a really important part of this checklist, is to discuss a plan of action with your client. Now, every single client you work with is going to be completely different. Some will have absolutely no technical knowledge, whereas others might be completely technically proficient. So this discussion should help you work out how much they want to be involved with the project once you've finished. If a client is completely non-technical, they may wish to pay you and have you manage the entire process, which is still easy to do within Wix Studio. However, and what's becoming more and more common these days, is that your client will wish to have some degree of involvement with their website. This could be just editing the blog or editing content here and there. They want to be able to make those changes themselves. Or it could be full ownership and you take a step back. What's really important is that you use this stage to make a plan that leaves your client really clear on what's coming next. The next step is to then agree on roles and permissions. Now, Wix Studio makes it really easy when inviting clients to your project to select specific roles and permissions when accessing the project. For example, you can give them specific roles that would allow them to edit the text content but make no changes to layouts or design. They can edit blog posts or create new ones, but they could not necessarily alter any of the work you've done. Or, as I said before, some clients will want full control and full ownership, meaning that you'll take a step back and they'll take the project as their own. Beyond that, you need to agree your role moving forwards. Even if your client has decided that they want full ownership and full control, they may still wish for you to remain on board. So the degree and style of transfer needs to be agreed. And once that's done within the Wix Studio platform, you can invite your client with their agreed roles and permissions and also set yourself up with your roles and permissions. A really important point on this checklist is to ensure that you've introduced your client to the handover process. The more that your client understands beforehand, the less likely things are to get either frustrating or slippery during that onboarding process. So then this allows for the next process, actually sending them that invite and getting them onboarded. Now, in Wix Studio, this is nice and easy. So what we can do is we can invite them via their email address. And as I said before, assign those correct roles and permissions and do the same for your own account as well. It's always good to let your client know once you've done this so they know what to expect and what they need to do next. And if you're using Wix Studio with that invite, you've now brought your client onto the Wix client platform. The client platform in Wix Studio is insanely powerful. Not only does it help them access their own website, but you can provide them with custom resources that they may need, not only to run their website, but their business on the whole. Let's say that you worked with the client before the website to put together a brand guidelines document. Perhaps they've got custom fonts or logo files. All of these can be hosted and stored on that client platform, easily allowing them to access those files when they need to. The Wix Studio client dashboard has all the tools your client could need to get to know the platform and how to start making those edits themselves if they wanted full control, or even just all that they'd need to know if they're just taking on a few small minor roles. It's a really great place for you and your client to stay in touch, even beyond like messaging services that you're staying in touch with them on already. It's a great place that's nice and central for them to see all of the files and resources they need and manage their project with you. Beyond that, it operates like a CRM, meaning that you can invoice your clients there and then, so everything can be managed in one place, which is not just beneficial for your client, but it's also great for you to stay organized and keep everything in one clean and tidy place. The next big thing, and a really important thing that Wix Studio provides you with, is great tools for feedback. Now, I actually covered this in a previous tutorial, but if you haven't seen it already, go and check it out. Wix Studio has an awesome feedback tool, and I'll just show you now quickly how this works. So Wix Studio allows you to send a link to your clients or invite them via email to get access to a specific version of the website that they can drop comments into place, meaning that when you come back to the edit, you can see specific sections that they're referring to and changes they wish you made. This can then translate really easily into almost like an actionable checklist that makes it really easy for you to take on board your client's feedback, know what they're referring to, and get it sorted for them. Again, another way that Wix Studio really supports the client and designer relationship. So this stage of the checklist is effectively to show your client how the feedback system works, make sure they understand it, talk them through it if needs be, but also help them understand that at any point they can feedback to you and you can make those changes for them. You could even potentially show them how to use Wix Studio's feedback tool to make changes to their own website, but list out their ideas for their own benefit. But on that note, the next step is to make sure that you've clearly defined what you'll be doing beyond this point. A great website designer should realistically be offering some sort of support beyond the publish. So make sure that your client understands what they'll be receiving in terms of ongoing support and aftercare. They may need help growing their brand. So if they're new to web design, they may have absolutely no idea what to do with what you provided them with. And depending on how you set your business up, you may provide different levels of aftercare and different levels of support at this point. There are so many different types of designers and developers out there. Some people keep their prices really low to be able to quickly turn around websites and get people online. They then leave them at this point and allow them to then take over themselves. Other people charge monthly to stay on board and help out with SEO tasks and growing the site on the whole. So make sure your client understands this, but also have a think about what your skills are beyond that publish point. If there's more that you can offer your client, then there's potentially more value you can gain for your business, but also you could make your client happier, which returns in numerous ways. The final point in the checklist, and this is really specific to Wix Studio, make sure that your client feels supported with relevant resources. So if we just hop back now into Wix Studio's client dashboard, you'll see that we can actually assign and add resources specific to Wix Studio to help them understand how to use the platform. So Wix Studio have provided a bunch of resources, YouTube videos and tutorials that you can provide your client in their client dashboard to help them get to know specific areas of the application. So if you've handed a project over to a client who's now going to manage the blog, you can provide them with CMS tutorials made by Wix Studio that are designed to be really intuitive and easy and help your clients onboard the smoothest way. Wix Studio has a bunch of tools that make this really easy, not just the client dashboard, but also the feedback systems and the way that you can decide together how much involvement both parties will have in the final production. And if you've been in this for a while, you've probably had good and bad onboarding experiences. And also, like I said before, with client expectations, we've all had projects where we've run off in a particular direction that we felt was right based on the brief. As designers, we've all had different experiences with clients where expectations weren't met for whatever reason. It happens. There can be a creative direction that you start moving in that didn't fit with their initial expectations, or there can be a complete miscommunication at the start. That's why so many of these points actually relate to fair communication with your client. The more your client understands about what you're going to be offering them and what the process is going to look like, the smoother the onboarding experience will be. A successful web design business is built around happy and satisfied customers, recommending you to people that need your services, and leaving you with testimonials that will help you grow. So let's start a conversation in the comment section below. I want to hear more about how you've experienced client onboarding processes in the past. What have been Perhaps some of your good experiences, or even more interesting for us to read through, would be what have been some of your bad experiences with client onboarding. This is in no way a reflection on your quality as a web designer, but a really great opportunity for us to learn from each other's experiences. So please do drop a comment below. Let's start a conversation and let's learn together. Please do like and subscribe. If you are interested in growing your business online, then this is the channel for you, and I really hope that I can bring you some value. So please do stick around, make sure you're subscribed, and I will see you in the next video.